Okay, I'm near a pond that I was going to walk across, but then I thought better of it, just for safety reasons. I avoid ponds and water and walking across bodies of water, just on general principle, because, and as I was walking along the pond, there is, I don't know if you can see that, but there's some running water, there's some wet water, and I could have inadvertently stepped into that, which would have made my feet wet, and then I would have been a hurting unit. So I just wanted to show this just to say that, stay away from ponds if all possible. Try not to cross ponds and lakes and whatnot, because even it's minus degrees, sub-zero degree weather out here, and there's some. You think everything would be frozen, and nope, there's some running water right there, which is good to know if you get thirsty. But again, from a safety standpoint, stay away from the frozen lakes. At least that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I was walking along, trying to find a place to set up to see if I could make a fire, and I was like, well, what methods I want to try, both modern and some primitive, and I realized that I didn't bring my hand drill, and I was like, okay, I need to find some mullein, and I happened to look up the trail and up a hill, and here's mullein. This is the Verbascum thapsus. Very, very good plant for making hand drills. It's got medicinal properties. The flowers are good for earaches, and these are the flower heads, really thick. And the leaves are good for respiratory issues. But the stalks themselves make pretty good hand drills. So I'm going to harvest a couple of these. They're dead. They're a biennial plant. They have a 2-year cycle, and this is the adult plant. And the flower heads drop off the seeds to start another colony, and then they die off. If you look along the sides of the highway and whatnot, you'll see these skeletons from the previous year. So there's a smaller one over there I'm going to grab for hand drill. These work pretty good here. Here's a cedar tree, and what's good about cedar is the bark. The bark makes fine tinder. You can even weave it into cordage. You see, you can grab this, kind of strip it off. It flakes off really easily and lightly. And you can twist this into cordage, or you can crunch this up in your tinder bundle. And it's quite dry. When you're collecting fuel for your fire in wet or cold conditions, you want to break off the dry, dead leaves that are up top or above the ground. And here's a piece here, there's a twig here. This should snap pretty good. And actually, nope, it's still pretty live, so you can always test it. But there's the dry needles here would be good as well. So just keep that in mind. It's good to know your trees, good to know your plants. When you're stripping the bark and you're using bark from trees, you never girdle a tree because you'll kill it. All right. So this is just the outer strip, so I wouldn't be hurting this tree none. But if I was to get to the inner bark layer and to the meat or the wood of the tree, and if I needed to take such large swaths, then it would be better for me to go lengthwise than to go around it. The bark of the trees bring nutrients, feed it, and so it's like a circulatory system. So if you girdle it this way, then it stops, and the tree will die. It will get diseased, and it will die. So if you ever have to use bark from a tree, you want to strip it up like so. So just grab some of this. Don't really need them much. I got plenty of tinder, but I just was walking along and wanted to point this out. Okay, here we have a white pine tree, and what's significant about white pine is that the pine needles you can make a tea out of, and these are the white pine needles here, and they're very high in vitamin C, and you can tell the white pine needles because I'm going to go ahead and break one of these off here just a second. You can tell the white pine. You can tell a white pine from the 5 needles that are here in a cluster, and they're clustered like this, and in each one of the clusters, they are there's 5 needles, and so that's how you can identify a white pine needle. And you can just kind of chomp on these as you go. I mean, they got a piney taste, but it's not too disagreeable. But you would chop these up, mince these up, and steep them in a tea, and it'll keep you healthy, keep the vitamin C going in you. So it's another good tree to know. And I'm not quite sure if you can see all of me. Don't have the best camera. I'm gonna try. Not too many people that I know would be willing to come out here in sub-0 degree weather and practice skills. So I figure it's a good time, a good chance to do it when it's adverse. It's daylight. To really challenge yourself, you probably want to do it at night as well. But I figure if Les Stroud can do it, I can do it. So anyways, I'm going to try to get a coal with a hand drill. And here's the mullein stock here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this prepared with my blade here. Also, lastly, I'm pretty warm out here, except for my exposed areas like my face, and I'm wearing a buckskin jacket I made, skin mittens, hat, some mucklucks that I've got on that I made, and I'm fairly warm. A lot of people ask me if my coat is warm, and I'm like, yeah, buckskin is extremely warm. It really cuts the wind. It allows you to breathe the hose in, your heat, and especially in the summertime, it's really hot. So obviously I don't wear this in the summertime, but I have another tunic that I've made and I've worn in the summertime, and it's very hot. So yeah, buckskin is warm. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna prep this. I'm gonna get a little closer to the camera. And the key with fire making is you want to try to keep everything as dry as possible. It's dry out here. It's not wet or warm. So it's a lot of dry snow, which is a good thing. But essentially, here's the mullein stock here. And what you want to do is you want to take your blade or your cutting tool and scrape the nodes off so that your hands are safe from getting scratched. So you just kind of go and hold the blade straight up and down, and get the nodes off, make it smooth. Okay. Now I'm going to shape this, and what you do is you take your blade and you cut around, just like so. And then you can, where you scored it, you can just kind of pop it like so. Okay. Now the flower head here is very useful for making torches. So if I had some tallow, I would dip this in tallow and let it dry, and then this makes a really good torch. So a lot of parts of this plant are very useful here. So what I'm going to do here, though, I'm not going to use the flower head this time. I'm just going to go ahead and I actually might be able to use it if we get a fire. There's another piece of fuel actually, but here I'm just going to score like so, and I'm going to pop it like that. So that's how you prep the mullein stock for hand drill.